Continue our Android dialog tutorial, and this is a second lesson. In the first lesson we just talked about concepts. We discussed three very important classes in Android system: activity fragment, dialog fragment, and today is time to start practicing. So we are going to create a very simple mobile application with the dialogs, so you can see everything how it's supposed to be done. So you see the screen of my app. It's called Dialog Demo. It has three buttons: personal info, location, settings. And let's say after the user of our app clicks personal info button, he is facing a dialog window on the top of the main activity where the user is supposed to provide the personal information. Any dialog supposed to have cancel button and OK button, and so on and so forth. If he clicks location, there is another dialog going to pop up. If the user clicks settings, it's going to be a third dialog box. So very simple app, and let's get started. So I'm going to my Android Studio. I start a new project, empty activity. Let's call it Dialog Demo, and package name usually is com example, but because I'm quite often publish my apps, my package name is different. So for you it's not important package name, but when you start publishing, distributing your app, your website supposed to be part of your package name. But again, for us it's not important. Location, username, Android Studio projects, and the folder of my project Dialog Demo. So usually I don't change default location. Language Java. We don't yet using a new language Kotlin. We still continue programming in classic Java, and minimum API level is by default 15. Android ice cream sandwich. I don't change anything. I click finish, and I'm waiting until my project is prepared. May take a minute or two. It depends on your system horsepower. So as usual, two files are created: Java file, XML file, and the first step I'm going to do is I don't need constraint layout. It's too advanced for me. I don't know why Android Studio creators, programmers forcing us to use this layout, because we have many layouts in Android and they have certain advantages and disadvantages. So there is no point actually to force to use a certain layout. However, it does happen, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a simple layout as you know from my first introductory course, the simplest layout is linear. So I'm creating linear layout. I call it main layout. Of course, I have to change here the connection between activity and layout because I created my own layout. I call it main underscore layout, and finally I don't need the layout generated by the system. I can delete it. Good. Next step, design as usual. You see I have linear layout, orientation. So actually the attributes window was changed. I don't know why Android programmers change in their software so often. So now it's divided into 4 sections. I think the easiest way to find the attribute is to go to all attributes, because that's the all attributes listed alphabetically. So let's set up orientation to vertical, and let's drop 3 buttons. 1, 2, and 3. Wonderful. The only problem is I want to see them in the middle of my screen. So I'm going to change the size of my layout. I don't want to stretch layout, so I change match to wrap. Again, review please my simple Android apps course, because this is basic course. It's much easier if you watch it first before watching any advanced courses. So simple Android apps, please, if you have time, review it. So the size of the layout is changed. Now I change the layout gravity property, and please don't be confused. There is layout gravity and just a gravity. It's not the same. It's different properties. I would say layout gravity, it's like a global gravity, and gravity is a local gravity. Honestly, I don't understand why the term alignment was changed by Android developers to the term gravity. For me, alignment is kind of easier, and we used to this term, especially in web design. Anyway, in Android development, we call it gravity, and there is 2 properties: layout gravity, like a global gravity, and just a gravity. Don't confuse them, and remember when to use which one. Okay, it's time to test. There is already a virtual device. I can click OK. May take sometimes a minute, two, a few minutes, depends on your system power. So let's be patient. And always watch please the status bar of the Android Studio, the bottom part of the screen, because it shows us what's going on. Only after you see here the message launch activity, you can see your virtual device. Watch launching activity, and I got it. Of course I have to change the text, so first button is personal info. Makes sense to change ID as well. btn underscore personal underscore info. Next, location, ID btn underscore location, and finally settings. Oops, I made a mistake. So this one is location and the third one is settings. ID btn settings. By the way, you may notice that despite of the fact I'm typing text in small letters, the button still capitalizes the text. So yes, that's the default behavior, but it's very easy to change. So there is attribute for the button. It's called I think caps. So you can tell Android Studio if you need to capitalize your buttons or you don't need buttons to be capitalized. Okay, so I don't want to change it now, so capitals is fine, no problem, but I have to check it again. Wonderful. You see the personal info, location, settings, buttons working fine. If I turn or rotate device, layout manager still placing my buttons properly to the center of the screen, so that's why we need layout managers. And I can start programming now because my buttons supposed to trigger dialog boxes. So let's go to the Java. Let's create variables for the buttons. Alt Enter is to import the class. So I create 3 variables for the buttons. If you want to handle clicks from the buttons or any other views, remember you have to implement view dot on click listener interface. So let me do it right away. Implements view on click listener. You see immediately a red bulb. You click on the red bulb, you say please do it, so Android Studio helping you to implement event handlers. So you click yes, implement. And here we are, your event handler is generated by the Android Studio. And I'm going to instantiate buttons first. Remember, it is done through find view by ID. Don't forget to register buttons, otherwise they won't trigger the events. Registration, very important step. So registration is done, and now I can test my event handler by showing a toast. Toast is probably the easiest way to test event handlers. And remember, toast has 3 parameters. First, the address of your activity. Second, the message. Third, the length of your toast, for how long you're going to keep it on the screen. And I'm going to show in my toast the clicked button label. So I'm going to add to my message this. Let me explain line 29. So what getText does? GetText returns you the text on the button. I cannot apply, unfortunately, getText to the view object because view object doesn't have text. So I do casting. I convert view to the button type and then I apply method getText. So basically, I think we are done. We created buttons, we instantiated buttons, we registered the buttons, and we created the event handler. Again, read my first or watch my first course if this is not clear, because that's where I explain all those steps in details, very slow. Creating simple Android apps. Watch it if you don't understand. Let's test. I'm waiting for the message launching activity. Yep. Done. So congratulations. The first step is finished. I create the main activity. The next lesson is about dialogs. We are going to start programming dialogs and we are going to start connecting our dialogs to our main activity. Thank you very much for watching. Wait for my next lessons and all the best. Bye bye.